Um, this is one of my favorites that I've done because of how boldly it makes a statement. I also like the use of symbols in place of the words. And when I said flowers, obviously that doesn't necessarily mean flowers, and the blades represent cut, uncut. It's fairly obvious and evident, and I just enjoy that quite a bit, how I used symbols instead of words to represent different things. Something I learned about the world with this was that even the UK, a country that I had previously thought very advanced and modern, has quite a few social issues that I kind of, and most of America would consider barbaric. They still practice, though illegally, they do practice FGM, female genital mutilation. It was only outlawed there about 30 or 40 years ago, and since then there have been no charges against anybody for it, which means clearly there's some stuff going on, and it's just not being enforced, and I find that very disappointing. Very disappointed in the UK about that. FGM also takes place in Egypt, and I also learned within the world that there is an Islamic state. I'm pretty sure it's Iraq, and recently the ruler there decided that all females from the age 13 to 46 are to be circumcised. Every single one. It is now illegal for a female within that age to not be circumcised, and that's pretty terrifying and horrible. It's a frightening world out there. What I did to make this assignment was I used watercolor splotching with paper towels. I splattered paint, and the way that I did that, in order to not make a mess, was if you take your finger like this, and you take a paintbrush, and you put the paint, a whole bunch of it on your paintbrush and a bit of on your finger, instead of just splattering it around like this and getting it everywhere, what you can do is you can take it just like this, and it creates the same effect, but a lot more controllable. So I did that. I also pasted the flowers on there and the razors on there, and I wrote just with a normal Sharpie. My challenges in this one were mainly just dealing with the reality of female genital mutilation even existing, because it's really terrifying and really horrible. That was the number one thing that was difficult. It wasn't actually very difficult in creating the spread, which probably has to do with me once doing my research, getting all passionate and upset about it, and it just kind of came out onto the paper. But yeah, that was definitely the most difficult part, especially going through Google Images, and you're like, oh my god, this stuff still exists in the world, it's really bad. Also, I learned that it still exists in the US. Less than 2% of the population, but it still exists. So that is my answers for the 4 questions on this assignment.